With me, my fellow Californian. So let's start, first of all, with your assessment of what's happening on the other side of the aisle among House Republicans. How do you interpret it all?
Well, first, happy Mother's Day to you, Alex. Nice to be with you today. To try to unite the country around a big lie is very, first of all, tragic. It's sinister and it's dangerous. And so while they continue to do the more damage to our country and our democracy, Democrats are going to continue to fight for the people. We're going to continue to put together our American Families Plan, our infrastructure bill. We're going to continue to fight to make sure that we create good paying jobs. And we're going to continue to fight to make sure that we address people's lives and livelihoods in a way that Americans deserve. And so they're in their fights, and unfortunately, they're trying to fight to perpetuate a lie, which for me and I think for our young people is very sad to see.
But look, when you're doing these fights, it sure helps to have the votes. And as House Republicans are focusing on trying to take back the House, there are a growing number of House Democrats. They're in battleground districts. They're either retiring or seeking higher office. You have some colleagues, Charlie Crist, Tim Ryan, Sherry Bustos among them. There are also the redrawn districts from the 2020 census that could give Republicans an edge. What do you think are the biggest challenges for Democrats in 2022 in that regard?
Sure. First, we have to pass our legislation, H.R. 1, S.R. 1 in the Senate, our For the People Act, that really will help secure our democracy, get dark money, at least shine a light on dark money in our political system. And we must pass H.R. 4, our Voting Rights Act, because we know that voter suppression efforts, as you've been reporting, all around the country are moving ahead. But we have to have federal protections for that. And so we're going to continue to work for the people. Our message is very effective, and Republicans are receiving the benefits of what Democrats have been working for in terms of crushing this virus and making sure that their economic security is intact. And so I believe what we're going to continue to do will be very effective in the elections, because I think the public will understand we're delivering for them and the Republicans are not.
And, you mentioned the voter suppression. In fact, we're talking about it because there are 47 states that are proposing new restrictive voting measures. Texas, we were talking about, that could soon be the latest to enact this voting bill after it was advanced by the State House. And you have former Texas Congressman Beto O'Rourke making a plea to the president as well as Congress to step in. Take a listen to what he said.
We really need the Biden administration to step up and support those of us in Georgia, in Texas, in Arizona, in Kansas, across the country fighting these voter suppression bills, and offer us some protection and ensure that every eligible voter can cast their ballot. We need federal action right now, and we need the For the People Act to pass the Senate.
What can the Biden administration do when the GOP is doing little but opposing anything the Biden administration is trying to do?
Sure, and I think, and the Biden administration wants us and is working to help us pass H.R. 1, which Beto just referred to, as well as the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, H.R. 4. We have to have federal protections, Alex, because when you look at what these states are trying to do and basically take away the right to vote, our constitutional right to vote, from African Americans, people of color, senior citizens, the disabled, people in rural communities. This is a fundamental attack on our democracy, and it's got to stop. That's what our federal government is there for, to protect the constitutional rights of everyone in our country, not just Republicans who want to deny us the right to vote.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the April jobs report together. Democrats and Republicans certainly sparring over it. President Biden says it is proof that his spending plans are vital. You've got Republicans saying it's a sign people don't want to go back to work. You have Republican-led states, Montana and South Carolina, that are ending federal pandemic unemployment benefits as a result of this. Take a listen to what House Majority Whip James Clyburn had to say on this earlier.
We may be talking about the big lie as it relates to the election, but very close to that is this notion that people don't want to work. I have not met any of those people who don't want to work. I have met a lot of people who are staying off from work because they cannot find child care for their children. And you've got the Republican Party not wanting to make that a part of infrastructure that is a critical part of infrastructure.
What's your reaction to this?
Yeah, Mr. Clyburn is absolutely correct. It's ludicrous. that the Republicans would try to deny people the right to survive, quite frankly. In the last 3 months, for example, we've created, I believe, 500,000 jobs per month. The Trump administration, it was probably about 60, 70,000 per month. People, especially those who have children, access to child care is just not there because of the pandemic. Our schools have not completely reopened. We have had to crush this virus. We have had to make the country safe so that we can open back up. And this is a long-term road that we're on. But I believe that what the Biden administration is doing is really helping save lives and livelihoods. And we've got to understand that people want to work. They need child care. Women need child care. People need caregivers for their elderly family members, and we need to make sure that they are taken care of. So there's so much involved in making sure people have the resources to get back to work because people want to work.
Indeed. I'd love to give you a moment on this Mother's Day. I know that you are always honoring your mother, Mildred, someone whom you admired so much. But I saw this photo and thought, what a stunning photo. Of course, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. But tell me a little bit about your mom, Mildred, and why she still inspires you to this day.
Ah, boy. Thanks so much, Alex. My mother, Mildred Parrish Massey, she was an unbelievable hidden figure, phenomenal woman. She was one of the first 12 students to integrate the University of Texas at El Paso. She was the first black woman civilian at Fort Bliss, Texas. She was a caregiver for my grandfather while she raised 3 girls. And she taught us that as a black girl, as a black woman, we cannot understand, we cannot take no for an answer, and that can't is not in the dictionary. And so we're equal to everyone, men and everyone in the country. And so she wouldn't tolerate her girls taking a backseat to anyone. She provided for us. We, in so many ways, we took ballet, piano lessons. We went to Catholic schools because schools were segregated when we started school. My mother sacrificed so much for her 3 girls. And I miss her so much. My sisters Mildred and Beverly miss her. She passed away in 2015. And let me tell you, she also was an advocate for other people. She lived in an assisted living facility in Oakland, Grand Lake Gardens, I have to give a shout out to. And whenever a caregiver had difficulties with their families or with the center or with the management, my mother would call me and she would tell me, Barbara, you got to help this person. What can I tell them you can do? And I'm going to make sure you do it. And so she was an advocate for so many people around her community, around Oakland and El Paso, where we were born and raised. And she was just a brilliant woman who loved her community and loved her family, and told us that can't was not in the dictionary and that we better step up and step out and make her proud.
Well, I was going to say that. I know your mom is proud of you, and I love watching your face, the animation and love with which you talk about your mom. So well done on this Mother's Day.
So much.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. I'm grateful I still have my mom. So anyway, I'm glad to talk with you about her, too. Thank you, Barbara Lee, my friend. We'll see you again.
Again, happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. A Kentucky Derby win in jeopardy after a failed drug test. That horse's trainer now speaking to